Hi, my name is Jason Lindsay, and I am a sculpture major and BFA candidate here at Winthrop University. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about my senior exhibition titled Desolation. Before I get into that though, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my work as a whole. Although I am a sculpture concentration, I consider myself to be more of an interdisciplinary artist, and I spend almost as much time in printmaking as I do in sculpture. I utilize sculpture and printmaking both separately and together. For example, the sculpture on the left I pasted parts of my relief prints onto, while the print on the right utilizes some of the same imagery and materials as my work for the senior exhibition. I take an intuitive and investigative approach to art making, and my work explores materiality, visualizations of troubled emotions, and themes like death and decay. When I first began working on my senior exhibition, I was primarily motivated by a desire to explore materials and textures and how they could convey feelings of disgust and anguish. Over the past 7 months of working on it, however, it's grown to be so much more. I've discovered as I intuitively developed and worked on it that in addition to exploring materials, Desolation confronts the issues of industry versus nature, human impact on the environment, and the merging of my internal and external landscapes. Desolation can be read as a surreal landscape comprised of 3 components: steel frames with a variety of materials, dense plywood stacks, and a monoprint pathway. Each of these components is speaking in a different language, and together they form a full immersive environment. Emerging from both the floor and the walls are 7 steel frames, varying in size from waist height to towering high above. Each steel frame has a different combination of material experiments built up on top of them. These materials, which include hair, dirt, concrete, and latex, and many others, blur the boundary between what is organic and inorganic. This reflects the unfortunate reality that industry and nature have become deeply intertwined and inseparable. The material experiments are also a significant tone setter for the installation, conveying death and decay as well as feelings of torment and disgust. Additionally, the steel frames are speaking in the language of line and movement, and their forms reference branches and plant life. Contrasting the visually lightweight quality of the steel frames are 4 heavyweight plywood stacks. Each stack contains somewhere between 40 to 60 individual hand-cut layers made with repurposed wood from a construction site. These mounds reference geographical forms like mountains and stalagmites and speak to a slow and gradual passage of time. If the steel frames are in the language of line, then these mounds are in the language of mass. Physically and visually, they ground the installation. Further, they act as barriers to viewers, enclosing them in the space and building immersion. The third component of the installation is the pathway. It is made of a series of monoprints compiled together to form a path that viewers walk upon. The pathway snakes through the installation and crawls up the wall, leaving some parts of the path more accessible than others. The colors and textures of the prints reference microbial life and is speaking in a much more 2D language. Transgression is an important element of the pathway. With the preciousness and conventions of printmaking being subverted, the expectations of how viewers interact with artwork being challenged, and even the expectations of a pathway to remain on the ground being thrown. Each of the components of this installation takes inspiration from the natural world around me, my external landscape. They have been distorted and made anguish, however, through emerging with my internal landscape. Your inner landscape is a subconscious space of your mind containing all of your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It is the mental and emotional space you exist and live in rather than the physical one, and is different for everyone. The love I have for the earth and its inhabitants, the worry I have for its present and its future, as well as unrelated tumultuous feelings from my daily life, have all become externalized and merged with the natural forms I reference. Through this merging of inner and outer, Desolation is transformed into a surreal landscape. I'd also like to discuss the interactive nature of this immersive installation. Although entering into Desolation is optional and it can be viewed from the outside, it is my desire for those who are able to enter it to do so for the fullest experience. In order to enter the space, however, viewers must walk on my prints, presenting them with an emotional dilemma that they must overcome. Further, each viewer who walks on the pathway will leave an impact on it, and over time it will begin to deteriorate. This mirrors the deterioration of the environment as a result of human activity and incursion into it. Through the process of creation, this work has acted as a tool and an impetus for me to reflect on my personal relationship to the earth, as well as humanity's relationship to and impact on it. Viewers who enter Desolation are challenged to consider and confront these issues for themselves. Thank you.